talk about a movie called There Shall Be Blood.
It's called There Will Be Blood.
Oh, sorry. One point to Marcia.
Let's begin the new year correctly, please.
We'll begin the new year correctly. There Will Be Blood. This is an extremely interesting, very powerful movie. A lot of people have called it the best movie of the year and whatnot. There's been a big critical consensus. I have some problems with it.
I found it interesting because it's based on Oil by Sinclair Lewis, who was, I believe, as I remember, a socialist.
May I correct you? Not Sinclair Lewis, Upton Sinclair. That is a really gross error for somebody.
I'm sorry, Upton Sinclair. I think it's enough that I know both those names, right? How about that?
Not for me.
Anyway, Lorenzo, so he was a socialist, Upton Sinclair.
All his books were muckraking,
yes,
exposing things anti-capitalist.
Yes.
And he might say, he said himself, his famous book was The Jungle, the
yes,
one that put him on the map.
Wasn't it the meat packing?
Meat packing. The book, Oil, is narrated by the son of the guy.
Doheny-like character?
Yeah, it's not Doheny, but anyway.
Yeah, but a character like Doheny.
No, actually not like Doheny, but...
Well, they show his house.
That's right, it's a stock shot of a rich house, but it's not Doheny.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll go and describe the plot of the movie very briefly, please.
Daniel Day-Lewis plays a man looking for oil, the most brutal, hard work ever. And you then have a series of his attempts to find oil. He does eventually find oil.
He ends up very rich. There's one shot that is sort of out of Citizen Kane. It shows him alone in a big mansion, showing that money doesn't bring happiness.
However, I want to say something. I found him a very sympathetic character because when the director, Paul Anderson, starts with him in these really vile, vile, vile conditions, and he worked to find oil, and he deserves to be as rich as he wants to be.
That's one view.
That's my view.
That's one view.
Yes.
Not my view.
Okay.
The first 20 minutes, he's very sympathetic and meant to be. In other words, as an obsessed person, going after his dream, he's brave, he's absolutely tremendous. His confidence, and he will find it, his drive. Then he turns into a very unpleasant character. And I would say that one of the problems with the movie is that he does not change from that moment on. The arc of his story really is a 12-minute, 20-minute sequence at the beginning, and then a bad guy for the rest of it.
And he's a very smooth talker. And he carries with him an orphan baby who is angelic looking, and who he tells everyone he's a family man, so when he goes to these poor farmers, he always shows himself as a family man with this darling child. Do you believe he loved that little boy?
No.
Okay.
Not particularly. But the boy's whole thing is about abandonment, and the boy hates him as a result and actually tries to kill him. He sets him on fire.
Yes.
You left out one important thing about the plot. He has a conflict with the evangelical, with Billy Sunday.
Yes, except he's never called Billy Sunday.
Well, plain it's meant to be Billy Sunday, who was an evangelical preacher of the period.
Yeah.
Enormously, just as big in his way
yes,
as this oil man who Marcia said is based on Doheny. It's actually based more on Harry Sinclair, but immaterial.
Is Harry Sinclair Oil?
Yes.
Oh.
The biggest problem to me is it appears set out as an epic struggle between these two men, between capitalism and greed on the one hand, and evangelical Christianity on the other. Since it starts almost as a documentary, although an inspired one, it does not lead to the proper third act climax, which a great constructed drama should.
The physical look of the picture is so brilliant. Every scene you would like to stop and put up on the wall somewhere.
This is a movie about performance. Daniel Day-Lewis is the movie. If Tom Cruise were playing it, well, no comment. No, it is an obsessed performance. And Daniel Day-Lewis is an obsessed actor. He becomes the part. He becomes the part. It's almost scary. You know, he frightens you. I don't want to run into him on the street, that Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's a very long movie, extremely long.
It opens with an extraordinary silence.
I felt like I was singing an opera, by the way.
Music was done by the lead singer of Radiohead. Radiohead, which is, for those who don't know, there's some out there.
Yes, me especially.
Is an alternative rock group, extremely avant-garde, I'd say. And it is a very daring and, I think, wonderful choice for that. It's almost like Philip Glass music at the beginning.
Yes.
This sort of strange theremin-like chords that build, and it's scary. Paul Anderson, who directed it, is a wonderful director. He's one of my favorites. One of my very favorite movies is his first movie, as far as I know, a movie called Hard Eight,
Yeah.
which very few people have seen. After that, of course, came Boogie Nights, which I think is the sexiest and best movie of its type ever made. A wonderful movie.
Brilliant
And then
movie.
Magnolia.
He makes movies about family relationships.
I don't believe that.
Well, those are his movies.
There were family relationships in them, but Boogie Nights is about porn.
Yeah,
It's not about all gee, I'm
no,
gonna make
but
a
it's
family
about
movie.
here are the people who we would find the most despicable people,
Not
perhaps. Well, okay, people that we don't necessarily have to dinner every night. That he makes you love these people and loves the fact that they all are together.
That's one view of it, yes.
Yeah, well, that's what made it successful, I think.
No, it was all gorgeous naked girls.
Maybe the story in Paul Anderson is the wanting to show what family means in our lives. In fact, the biggest moment in the picture is he murders a man who has been pretending that he was his brother whom he had not seen in 30 years. And when he discovers that he's been lied to, he kills him.
I kept thinking of that as the Fredo scene, as I called it to me as I watched it.
Oh, that's great.
Because this is like in The Godfather when, what's his name, Al Pacino disposes of his brother in the famous scene in Godfather 2.
Great.
And I said, here comes Fredo.
Well, you know,
There goes Fredo, I mean.
I had one comment after I saw the movie. It's either one of the great movies of all time or it's a gigantic fraud.
In no way is it a total fraud. When you set out to make a great American movie, it generally doesn't work, it doesn't quite work.